Hey everybody, it's Shane. It's a Monday afternoon for me. I have a pretty big update here. I always try to keep these things fucking small, but it's never gonna happen. Uh, happy belated New Year's to y'all. And I've been on the channel now for a year, and I've been in YouTube. I started my channel last year, and it started pretty promising, and then the numbers went down, the views went down. But I'm tickled for the people who continue to watch this and support this. I'm at a cult sort of level, and I like it. I like the views I have. Uh, you know, and I appreciate you guys out there watching the videos. I'm really, really happy with where the channel's at and with the people watching. And my videos are long and they show a lot of shit. But those are the videos I like, so I'm trying to show what I would like, thinking there might be a few people out there that like the same thing. But let's get into it. I got a lot to show. Cassette CDs. The first thing I want to show though is a DVD that I just got today, and I'll show music DVDs from now, every now and then. And I've not seen this or anything like that, but I don't know if this is like a concert film or not. I don't think it is. It might be just be a documentary, but it's "The Kids Are All Right" by the Who. This one was $2, and I'm a big fan of the Who, so to me this was a no-brainer for me to if I can get the fucking thing out of here. This thing is in great shape. For $2, I will take it and run with it. So there you go. So I got so much shit to show you. I can't go through this in depth, but yeah, this was a nice pickup for $2. Music DVDs I show too, so those will get thrown in every now and then. It was one of my first videos I showed you guys. I had the All Things Must Pass, or not Almost Things Must Pass, but the concert in Bangladesh by George Harrison. So, all right, cassettes. Cassettes and quite a few cassettes. We're going to start with the cheapest and go on up. Trinity Sessions, the Cowboy Junkies. Yeah, why not? I mean, I think I've had this on cassette. The funny thing is with this album, there you go, the Cowboy Junkies. The funny thing with Cowboy Junkies is I've never had any of their shit on vinyl, always CD or cassette, and I've pretty much had this on cassette in one form or another in my collection since the 90s. And of course, Sweet Jane was popularized by that. You guys probably remember Natural Born Killers. It was on that soundtrack. But they do a lot of covers on this album too. I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry is wonderful on here. The song Mining for Gold is terrific on here. Misguided Angel. Their version of Blue Moon is killer. This group is weird. It's like they're taking that dusky sort of Dust Bowl sort of Woody Guthrie sort of, I guess, imagery, or sort of like what you would think would be imagery, and incorporating it into a sort of what to me is a dreamy Western kind of thing. They were a totally unique band, Cowboy Junkies. There wasn't a lot of groups that sounded like them. So this is definitely worth picking up for $3. So yeah, I spent $3 on that. The next two are $6 a piece. This one is a compilation from Ghoul House Records, which was a label that's out in California. And the name of the compilation is Hour of Power. So just to show you real quick what it looks like. A lot of these are California bands. I forget Southern California where it's at. It's what's his name is on here. Sean Gospel, I think, is his name. He runs the label, so it's got a nice little bands in there and all that stuff. Kind of garage rock compilation. I believe, like garage punk, garage rock kind of stuff. I don't know really any of the bands on here. Some are Shirley Rolls, The Cardells, Babylon Sweethearts, Venom Jackets, The Bad Machine, Boogie Mamas, Sean Gospel. But I think Sean Gospel is the one that sort of runs the label. So indie, garage rock, garage punk, garage rock, whatever compilation for $6. Why not? Um, this one too was $6. This is Mad Blake in the Elos Stalins, and yeah, that's a dead critter. This one was $6 too. Now, mind you, I didn't pick these all up at once. This was weeks of collecting together that I got these. But this one I just got Saturday, so. Brazil-based band, I want to say, I think Sao Paulo. Kind of known for being, I guess, a straight-up punk band, but this sounded a hell of a lot like the Cramps to me. A lot like the Cramps to me. So I could be wrong, but that's kind of how it sounded. Well, the owner of the store, Jerk Dog Records, and that's where I got most of these. Everything I got was from Jerk Dog here. With an exception of maybe a CD or two. But yeah, so yeah. I want to try to get these done. Moldy Peaches. This is some good stuff here. This is Origin. This is pretty much collected works from 94 to 99 by this anti-folk duo from New York. Basically not trying to be part of the folk scene in New York at that time, with Kimbra Dawson as the lead singer. And I don't know if I think she did some solo stuff, but I swear I thought Kimbra Dawson was in another band, and maybe she wasn't. But lo-fi folk, some of it is kind of experimental and noisy. This is on like, and this has the same sort of spirit of like Royal Trucks, but not as noisy, but more like lo-fi and experimental, but just not as noisy. More in the folk spectrum end of things. They do mess around with hip hop on here and have a song called Moldy Peaches in the House. But super tickled to have this. There you go, there's a close up of it. Yeah, really happy to have this. Happy for the collection. That was 11, and then this one is a black metal split between two French metal bands, Vlad Tepes and Belcatre, or Belcatre. Belcatre. Let me see. Belketre. Belcatre. So this split goes back to 1995, and it's French black metal. Pretty fucking tickled to get this one. It was $15, but how often you see black metal splits for like, maybe I paid a little bit more than I wanted to on it. So I'll show you some black metal later too. But basically, the owner of the store was showing these black metal records, and for some reason I said I want the records he had, and I'll definitely show those later. But then it was like, oh, do you want anything else? Is what he said, and I'm like, yeah, give me the tape, because you showed the tape with the albums, I should say, the black metal albums. This is a heavy on metal collection today. Heavy on metal, along with some other odds and ends for sure, but for sure heavy on metal for sure. Just making sure these are in the right order. CDs, I'm going to fly through these as quick as possible. Cassandra Complex with Cyberpunk. Pretty cool to have this British band that's mostly dark wave, gothic dark wave with elements of industrialness to them. They're mostly on that gothic dark wave thing, but there are elements, like I said, of industrial music. I haven't really seen any of the Cassandra Complex stuff out there. I got this at like a thrift store for like, I think it was like $1. So I said, fuck it. I think I got this at a Goodwill, and I was super happy to get it. On the Play It Again Sam label, so that's like a subsidiary of Wax Trax, so I kind of knew what I was getting myself into here, and super happy to get myself into it. So Cassandra Complex, Cyberpunk. This album does have industrial elements on it. It's not strictly, I guess the earlier albums would be more dark wave gothic, but this does have like dance elements, industrial elements on it. So, but I'm tickled. I haven't seen their stuff in the wild in a while. Another synth group here. This is Depeche Mode with Deconstruction Time Again. Early 80s record. This is 83. Considered their industrial record. Produced by Daniel Miller, who ran, I think, Mute Records at the time, and Depeche Mode. and it's got the big hit "Everything Counts" on here. So yeah, good stuff. There is a lot more drum machines in this, and this is where Martin Gore, I think, really takes over, doing a lot of the songwriting. And who's the member that kind of was added late, or joined the band full time on here? It's going to drive me up the wall. Um, Andrew Fletcher. No, is it Andrew Fletcher or Alan Wilder? I think it's Alan Wilder joins the band kind of more full time. So, yeah. Some great alternative here from the 90s. This Kettle Whistle by Jane's Addiction. I have a lot of their stuff on CD. This I did not have. I pretty much collect their stuff on CD. This is a compilation of live, unreleased recordings, demos. Some of the songs you know, like Had a Dad and Been Caught Stealing and Horrors are on here. And then the great my cat's name is Maceo, which is fucking excellent. Curated by, I guess the Jane's Addiction curator is Stephen Perkins, who played in the band, and he decided what tracks were going to get released on here, much to the chagrin of some of the other members. Well, then get off your ass and fight them for it. So, love Jane's Addiction. Nice pickup for $3. John Cougar, yeah, John Mellencamp, Life, Death, Love, and Freedom. Him going kind of Bob Dylan on this. Really produced by T-Bone Burnett. Really cool record. No complaints here. So John Cougar Mellencamp. Trying to go through these fast. The Grateful Dead. I'm actually listening to this. This is the best of the Grateful Dead. So this kind of goes through the history in very brief, maybe 30 songs on here, going back to Dark Star and that beginning, that early stuff, to, you know, Black Muddy Water, Blow Away, up to like Safety at Last, I would say, or Built for Safety. That album, the album after In the Dark, I think it goes up to that. So pretty happy to have the Grateful Dead. Love the Grateful Dead. So tickled to have this one. And last but not least, and this one's kind of a surpriser for me because I really, really do not like show this kind of shit on here. Actually, I got a few more records I got to show. So I'll pull those too. Gangsta Party. Gangsta Party. 2006 compilation of gangsta rap. This has got Too Short on it. What's that guy's name? Rappin' Forte, who I actually kind of like Rappin' Forte. I thought Cool Keith was on here, but he's not. But Badass, Jag, some of the names. J Felony. Yeah, I don't know. It's gangster rap for the early 2000s. I got another compilation I'm going to show you in a minute that's sort of like in that vein. So yeah, I don't know what to think of this. I like rap music. I'm trying to give more of it a chance, you know. And Lady Amashja is on here too. So 3 CDs set, you know, for $8. Can't go wrong. So I saw it and I was like kind of laughing when I saw it. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Some 45 singles or 7-inch singles I want to show you. These are really, really good and pricey. The first one is The Mentors. Pretty cool to have this on 45. This is going back to their first recorded music, which is back in 1977 at Stephen Broy, who played bass, his house. So this was recorded at his house on Stool Sample Records. And there's a very young Eldon Hoke there, who also went by El Ducci. Found out a little bit later in life he really liked alcohol. I don't know what this sounds like. I'm really tickled. I'm guessing raw punk, you know, before they became the masters of like sleaze, scum rock, you know. People hate the Menors, hate on them. I fucking love them. So, Menors fucking 7-inch is really fucking cool, if you ask me. Really cool to have. Alright, let's see. I got one more metal one. Well, three more metal ones, but um, lots of metal in this show. This is Pentagram. This is a 2023 release, and it's got two songs on here, or three songs on here: "The Diver" and "Catwalk" and "Be Forewarned." Sorry, and "The Diver" and "Catwalk" on side A, and side B, "Be Forewarned." So newer. These songs were recorded between 2018 and 2022. So newer Pentagram, still good stuff. Um, I'm gonna open this up real quick. Yeah, there's just no way. I'm trying to force myself to get this done early. I'm gonna just relax. No sense of getting worked up about it. Um, on Creed Purple Records. Creed Purple Records. So just black vinyl. Yeah. Yeah, I really, really enjoy Pentagram. One of my favorite kind of doom metal bands, and that's what they are. Still around. So, not often you see a Pentagram 7-inch. So this Jerk Talk Records, if you haven't been there, like his store, like when I first started going to now, is like so much better than it was. And it was good back then, but it's fucking way better now. Especially selling really quality CDs and cassettes and fucking 7-inch singles. I find myself buying more of the CDs and cassettes and 7-inch singles, but I'm still buying records. From him. So, all right, two 7-inch singles here, and then we're gonna get into the albums. Got a lot of albums to show you. One goofy fucking record, and then the next one, the first goofy. But the two 7-inch are from the same band, and I think these came out in the same year. I could be wrong, but the band is Haggis, and this is No End in Suffering. On the Tank Crimes label, great label for extreme metal. 6 songs on here. Putrid Infestation, Butchers of the Damned, Frothy Purge, Gagging on Maggots, and other such lovely songs. On I think this is on Red label. This band has been around since 2014, but Haggis has gotten a lot of love lately and has kind of a strong following. They've been around for quite a while. Kind of popularized as being like, are known for being as mincecore, which is kind of a anti-misogynistic response to gore grind, which I guess is more misogynistic. So, but how the fuck would you know? Sorry. How the fuck would you know what if they were political or not political? You can't hear the lyrics. I mean, you just have to read the lyrics, because you don't really know, because you can't really hear anything when you listen to this. The band is really inspired by like mincecore legends, what is their name? Agathocles, who I do like, band from Greece, who consider themselves the founders of mincecore. Very, to me, like, this is way noisier than most grindcore, and even gore grind. This is so noisy that you can't really hear anything. It almost gives you a headache. It's a very challenged listening. I like it, but yeah, I was listening to it. I'm like, man, this is fucking thick. And the other one I picked up was Haggis, 3 Cadavers, 2 Corpses, and a Carcass. Another Haggis record. This one was 2024 as well, released by Tank Crimes. And this one is on green vinyl. You can see that right there, nice lime green. Sorry about that crack on that. Yeah, this is much more clear. This has much more of a grindcore sound to it. The production, or whatever, the noise element is gone and the production is enhanced. So this one was a little bit easier to hear than the other ones. 6 songs on here, including like Maggots to a Corpse, Chain of Carnage. I don't know how this would be like anti-misogynistic when it's like all, you know, this group almost kind of reminds me of that they're more influenced by like Carcass than anything. Agathocles or whatever their name is. Agathocles was the name of that big group. I was saying it wrong. Yeah, their mentors or their, I don't know if they're their mentors, but this band to me, especially the first one, this uh, No End in Suffering, this is definitely like Rika Putrefaction influenced, and this one just reminds me of like just grindcore in general, and some of it kind of reminds me of Carcass a little bit. It does. It sounds really clean, but yeah, this band has got a fucking heavy following, super heavy following, and I didn't know that they did. I had no clue that they did. So pretty cool. Now the albums. We're just gonna keep cranking because I want to get this done today. Um, an assortment of records here. Lots of metal towards the back end. Classic rock. I had a bunch of soul music, but it was like cheap dollar stuff, and I don't know if I want to like show you guys dollar bin stuff. The only dollar bin record I am going to show you is this one is just for goofs. I didn't know they made a movie, but they made a TV movie about the Coca Cabana. And this is Barry Manilow starring in the TV movie Coca Cabana, which was released in 1985. Now, the single was released in 77 or 78 and was a big hit for him. 78, 79 sounded like it would be a good time to adapt a sort of television movie for this. They waited like 8 years. Like Barry Manilow was off the charts at that point in time. I'm kind of shaking my head at this, but I was just like, 1985, Madonna was big, synthesizers were all over the fucking charts. If you're talking about like pop music, who else was big? Tears for Fears in 1985, and Barry Manilow doing a TV movie. It doesn't make any fucking sense. With Annette O'Toole, who's good, and Joe Bologna as Rico Castelli. Did anybody direct this a note? No one I know of. Warren Hussein, I think is his name. Barry actually looks like a leading man here, cuddling with Annette O'Toole. Look at that. And of course, she was in Smallville, playing Clark Kent's mom in Smallville. I know she was in a lot of stuff, but that's the first thing that comes to mind. Produced by Barry Manilow. I'm guessing a lot of these songs are Barry Manilow. There's a song in here called Let's Go Steppin' by the Copa Girls. Oh my fucking god. And on top of that, Barry Manilow sings Ay Caramba. So this is going to be tasty and fucking dumb. But I'm like shaking my head that fucking, that they made a TV movie about this like in 1985. I mean, how unhip was Barry Manilow by 1985? He was like an afterthought at that point, or getting to be one. Maybe he was still a big draw concert-wise. Some of his songs, I guess, have like a timelessness to them. But come on, man. Give me a fucking break, right? Oh, I guess there is a 7-inch I'll show you here. And I actually really like this song. So this is the other dollar thing I wanted to show you. 7-inch single, Jane Child's Don't Want to Fall in Love. This came out in like 1990. It is such a good little dance pop song. And this just has a bunch of different Don't Want to Fall in Love dub mix, feel good mix, acapella mix, LP version of World Lullaby is on here, and then a bunch of remixes, New Jack Swing mix, stuff like that on side B. I remember when this came out. It was just like, one of those dance pop songs, but I was maybe mistaking her for like Taylor Dane or somebody. But man, this is a good fucking single by Jane Child. As a 7-inch, it's really, really good off the Warner Brother label. Yeah, I find myself going back to that 90s stuff now and actually giving it more of a chance. And we're going to talk about even going into the 2000s. I got a bunch of dollar records I got to show too. Oh crap! Sorry, these are a little disorganized, guys. My apologies. Jesus Christ, this is a mess. I thought I had everything organized, but I do not have everything organized. But I will get there. Now I have everything organized. Um, Here's the last of the kind of interesting dollar records before we get into like the $3 haul, and then the six, and then the da 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 da. This is the O'Kanes. Yeah, the O'Kanes. I thought this one was kind of interesting. I got it for uh, 50 cents a dollar or something like that. I thought maybe I might get some like David and David, like Welcome to the Boomtown or Bourgeois Tag or some like 80s rock or some like roots rock or something like that. This is country music, straight up country music, and their melodies are very very good. And they get the name real quick, the O'Kanes, because it's Kieran Kane and Jamie O'Hara. I think Kieran Kane went on to, or one of the two went on to produce and continue in the music industry. One of the two did. But once again, there's the back. This is on CB or on Columbia Records. Um, yeah, they had a hit on here too. What was the song called? Oh Darling. And there's a mixture. They a mixture of that kind of a blended modern country sound for that time period and kind of an old school kind of country soul in the music, which I kind of like. They've been compared to from everyone from the Louvin brothers with those kind of shared vocals to the Everly brothers. And when I read about that, I'm like, fuck, this is going to be okay. But I bought this after the fact. I bought it this first and researched it after the fact. But this is pretty good 80s country. It does sound like 80s country though, so you can't get too mad at it. I mean, I really had a problem with 80s country when I was a kid. I fucking hated it, you know, except for like Dwight Yoakam and Steve Earle and stuff like that. I didn't really like 80s country. Now that I've had time to go back and listen to, you know, like George Strait and some of the late 80s, Randy Travis and the Judds and Roseanne Cash. The 80s was really a decent Desert Rose Band, Sweethearts of the Rodeo. There's a lot of really, really solid country from the 80s. A lot better than what I thought originally. And I know I'm missing a lot of acts. If there's one you could think of, put it in the comments. So, but this is actually pretty good, the O'Kanes. This isn't bad at all, really. I was really sadly mistaken for thinking that was going to suck. Going back to the rap that I showed earlier, this one was $3. This is Red Stars Sounds, Volume 2 B-Sides. I guess there's a Volume 1 on this. And this has got Ja Rule and Drew Hill and Foxy Brown and DMX and Method Man. And Redman. A pretty good compilation for fucking $3 on Def Jam. I thought this was really cool. I almost want to keep this for myself, but I might listen to it. There's a great like hip hop song on here called Good Love by Donica, kind of female vocals for the time, and I really really dig that song. And I like the DMX song on here, You Could Be Blind. I really like that song. So early 2000s rap, hip hop, soul kind of combined compilation. Pretty cool to have. Pretty cool to have. I have a very small, you know, this will go, this and this ought to give me the rap stuff for like hours on end, right? We could listen to 2000s rap and hip hop for hours on end. We're going to get away from the rap and we're going to talk Aerosmith, and this is Rocks. This is just a receipt of one of my transactions at the store, that Jerk Dog. I just left it in there. $3 record. I have this, but this is an upgrade. Fucking awesome album. Sleazy as fuck, as you would expect from the great Aerosmith on Columbia. I should not be taking out all these records because, you know, this album is considered by many to be their best, and I think it's their best. So fucking dirty. It feels like you're hitting a heroin needle when you listen to this thing. It's so scuzzy. It's the back label right there. Yeah, I fucking love this album. I love some of the songs on here. Sick as a Dog, Nobody's Fault, This Killer. Is the Last Child on here? Yeah, Back in the Saddle is great. Ballad Home Tonight is terrific on here. Licking a Promise. This whole album is fucking great. This is my go-to Aerosmith album, and I needed an upgrade on my like beat up thrift store copy of when when I moved down to Florida, that was like one of the first albums I bought. But it's so beat up that it's not even funny. So this Aerosmith will do me good. So Ravi Shankar, Charlie. Yeah, this is Ravi Shankar, the sitarist, the indie sitarist, doing the soundtrack to the movie Charlie, which is based on the book Flowers for Algernon, where the guy becomes progressively more intelligent. He's slow and he becomes more intelligent, and how's that change his personality and all that kind of shit. This was like pre Lawnmower Man. Well, Lawnmower Man's more scuzzy. I think I like that a little bit more than this, but it's sitar mixed with orchestral score, and it's actually pretty fucking good. A lot better than I thought. I was just more curious about this for some reason. He had this in his store forever, and I was just waiting for him to price it down, and it got below. It was in the $6 area, and I was like, he'll put it in the $3 bin, and I'll pick it up, and then he did. So happy to have it. Charlie, the soundtrack by Ravi Shankar. There's not even that. He's always like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't stereotype like that. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Roy Gallagher, Jinx. This is fucking awesome. I just picked this one up. I have to put it back here. 1982 release, and I got to be honest. I don't want to show too much. There's going to be a glare on this all the way through. I had no clue that Roy Gallagher was making movies, music in the fucking 80s. I did not know that. I only really knew by him his 70s stuff. And, of course, the band Taste, who I liked a lot too. And when I was doing record shows back in the day, Roy Gallagher's albums were something of like not a hot commodity, but more like if you had them, you could sell them. They were like $7 to $15 or whatever, but it was like when you picked them up, you knew you were gonna flip it for whatever. His records used to be pretty hot at these record shows I used to go to, as in like automatic flip. Like if I had his stuff, I would just sell it. If I could find it cheap, I would just sell it for double the price. This album has kind of, I hate to say new wave because I don't think that would be fair to call it that, but it's danceable music. It's like up tempo, like still bluesy and stuff, but definitely has an up tempo fucking thing to it. Songs on here like Big Gun is great. Big Guns, I should say. Easy Come, Easy Go. The Devil Made Me Do It. These songs are super fucking catchy, man. Yeah, I'm just tickled to get some Rory Gallagher on vinyl. I haven't had anything by him in a long time. I'm going to be looking for his stuff now for a little bit. This band, I always buy their shit. Spooky Tooth Mirrors. So this is a 74 release from the band. If you pull this out, that's gone. So on the Island label, pretty much anything I see by Spooky Tooth I pick up. This is the band that I've been in love with for a while. And then you pull it back in, and it's presto, whammo, bammo, right back to where it was. Mike, what's his name? God damn it. Original lead singer leaves the band, and I can't remember his name. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. And fucking Mike Pato comes in and sings lead vocals. Real pronounced guitar work on this by Mick Jones. Lots of good songs on this. A lot of the songwriting duties went to Gary Wright and Mick Jones on this too, I believe. And this does have a little bit of a soul, gospel drenched kind of blues hard rock, psyche blues hard rock, which they're known for. But it still fucking jams. It's still like really good 70s psych blues rock, hard rock. You can't be I haven't been disappointed with one Spooky Tooth album. They're all good. Another record by this band who I certainly love. This is The Call with Seen Beyond Dreams. This is 1984. And it seems like all their albums are so much different than the album before it. And this is certainly sounds different than like Reconciled, and sounds different than what's that album, Day of the Woods, Into the Woods. I think that later '80s album. This does. It's kind of new wave sounding, but still within that sort of, and gothic sounding a little bit into what the Call do, kind of an arena rock kind of thing. Arena rock for the '80s, meaning like U2, Simple Minds, that kind of thing. Maybe even the Fix, you know, who I think often is kind of an arena rock band meets new wave too. Um, yeah, this is really good. I'm fucking hooked on the Call. I've been into this band for a while, and I'm going to continue to buy all their stuff because super cheap. It was $3, and I'm not going to go wrong with that. Double live album here. This one is killer for $3. The Association live, double live album by the Association. I love this band. Um, Los Angeles based band. Lots of live lots of live songs on here. Colors, lots of live songs on here. And the problem is, I guess, is the bass is pretty inaudible on here, and the sound overall is pretty rough, and they can't match their fucking studio output. You know, all the critical shit that they, you know, give bands. But I think I've listened to a few songs on here. Dubuque Blues, even like Never My Love, which I love. I'll Be Your Man. I think this sounds terrific. I mean, I could see the inaudible bass and some of that, but I think this sounds fine. They sound fine live. I guess maybe it's because I don't have a fickle ear, so I don't really care. Let's picture the band. Yes, that was the receipt that fell on Warner Brothers Records. So the other one's on Warner's too. So I really dig fucking the Association. They're one of my favorite bands from LA. I mean, everybody talks about the Byrds and Buffalo Springfield and Love, and all those bands are great too. But the Association were a good fucking band. The Turtles, you know, the Turtles now get get a lot more love. Hopefully, the Association will start getting some of that love. It's just great '60s pop rock, you know. All right. $6 gets me this lovely thing right here. Tiny Tim. This is With Love and Kisses from Tiny Tim. I've been actually looking to buy some to Tiny Tim, and the thing is, going back to their old record store days, or record show days. I'm sorry. His shit, you used to get it for $1 to $3 at record shows. And I bought all his stuff. I had like most of his older output. And then, of course, I sold them or got rid of them or whatever. This one was $6. And to be honest, this is a good price on this. Unfortunately, as sad as that is to say, this is a good price on this. The production on this is pretty fucking atrocious on Bouquet Records. It's just on black vinyl. I don't know if I need to take it out for you just to show you it's on black vinyl. It is not recorded the best, but it's a Tiny Tim record is a Tiny Tim record, and of course he's considered kind of novelty, and you know, had the big hit, you know, Tiptoe Through the Tulips. But there's a few good songs on here. Let Me Call You Sweetheart. I kind of like that song. His version of Indian Love Call, the old Slim Whitman, you got to hear it to believe it. It's so fucking ridiculous. But there was something about Tiny Tim I really liked. I've always liked about him. You want to call him a novelty artist, fine, but this was a guy who took his music seriously, and maybe more so in the evocation of the old sort of spirits of the 20s and 30s records that he loved, and tried to propagate that into a modern, into his own thing. But there's something about him that I think that is like really earnest and great in a way. So yeah, I'll be the first to stick up for Tiny Tim. Not the best live recorded material, it is not, but whatever. I'm happy to have it. The Go to Beds, yes, the Go to Beds, and this is their third album. Death Begins at 30. So I forget where this band is from. It drives me up the wall when I can't remember the name of the band, where they're from. But this was marked down from 17 to 13 to finally $8, and I just took a chance on it sealed. Um, on the Sub Pop label, uh, yeah, like I said, I think this is their third album, 2019 release. Sub Pop record for $8. I'll take a chance. It's not like it used to be though, when like if it was on Sub Pop back in the '90s, it was a fucking do. It was like, yep, it's mine. Nowadays, it's like, do I really? I don't trust Sub Pop like I did in the '90s, and it's only because I don't like the indie music now as much as I liked it back in the '90s. I'm sure there's some good stuff, but I don't, whatever. This band has a strong Sonic Youth influence, very much strong, and that's like the first thing I heard when I heard them. And there's a lot of bands that sound kind of Sonic Youth influenced. So this band's very tight though, very tight. This band has a strong Sonic Youth influence, and they're a little dirgy and noisy, and so I would see even maybe a little bit of Mission to Burma as well. And they have a ton of people on this album. Bob Nasta working on this album with them. Bob Nastanovich, or whatever, from Pavement. Tim Mayette from Silkworm. Bob Weston from Mission of Burma and Shellac. The great Bob Weston is on this. So, Joe Casey and Greg Agee from a great noise band from Detroit, Proto Martyr. So, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I have no complaints about this. It's good. I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna be honest. I probably won't even open it, and I'll sell it for like $8 or $9 at a record show. Not because I don't, have a problem with it, but I'm gonna cut down my collection a lot, and then I'm gonna build it back up again. But I'm gonna sell. I'm buying to sell right now because I have a show coming up in April. It's at the Tampa. It's in Tampa, and it's yeah. I'll be ready for it probably. I'll be ready for it because I'm already starting to buy for it, so it shouldn't take that long to get ready for it. Interesting stuff going forward to show you. So let's just keep going. Sound Barrier, Total Control. 1983 release, and Sound Barrier was a band from LA and noted distinctly for being an all-black heavy metal band. And yeah, very much in the Judas Priest Iron Maiden thing. And yeah, you could tell that the lead singer is black, but not really, and it doesn't really hurt the music that it is. I mean, there's been black in, like Living Color, and of course Hyrax had the great I can't think of that dude's name. It's gonna drive me up the wall, but Hyrax had a great black lead singer, and that dude's cool as hell. Yeah, this album didn't get promoted very well. It was known as being kind of a Judas Priest clone, and they were quickly done before they started. I'm gonna say they only made one or two albums, and that was it. But it's like traditional metal from the early '80s. You can't really go wrong with this. Let's see if I can show you a picture of the boys in the band. Yeah. So I liked it. I like this kind of sound of music. So yeah, who cares if it sounds like Judas Priest? I don't give a shit. That one was $8. Now I got to go back to one that was $6. That's what I'm saying. I hate being out of order, but I'm out of order on this shit. This is Ruli Rendo and Orchestra y Coros with Toque Tiando. So 90s Tropicali music. I want to say this guy's from Brazil, or someplace in there. But this is like 90s sounding. But to be honest, this guy was a band leader, an orchestral leader since the 60s, I think. But to be honest, this doesn't sound like it's from the 90s. It sounds like it's an older style record. And I bought it for the cover. It's on this Polydor label, and it looks like it's a fucking import of sorts. Let me show you. That does not look like an American label to me. That does not look American press to me. I bought it because I like the cover. It's the Tropicalia version of fucking of fucking sticky fingers. Look at that shit. I bought it for that, man. Yeah, I bought it for that. Very seductive. I liked it. Yeah, it's poppy, kind of dance, kind of carnival sounding, like carnival sounding, not carnival, but like a carnival from the late '70s. Those carnival records, which are really cheesy, which is like this joyous sort of island music. It's got that kind of vibe, but definitely in the um, annals of Tropicalia for sure, but with kind of goofy and poppier sensibilities. But yeah, I fucking dig it. All right, we're gonna start getting into the nitty and gritty now, guys. We're getting home. We're getting home. I got quite a few to show you, but we're gonna keep traveling on. This one was $10, and I've just been picking up some good used records, and you're gonna see. Well, you might like the next few, but I think I picked up some stellar stuff. And this one is Lucifer's Friend with "I'm Just a Rock and Roll Singer." German band Lucifer, adding elements of a little bit of elements of jazz into their attack, but known for being kind of prog blues rock. I think the Lucifer's Friend stuff I had heard was more on the. Let me pull this out. I'm not gonna pull it up that close. I guess I can. Um, I thought the Lucifer's Friend stuff I heard was way more fucking rockin' than this. And what I had heard on this was really rockin' too. So, but from the review I read, look at the back of that motherfucker right there. Doesn't he just look like a ped? A pedo. um, that's probably their manager. I shouldn't say that, but yeah, from what what I read about this, it's supposed to be like jazzy and off-putting to their fans, but the tracks I heard were really fucking good. I do hear a little bit of a jazzy arrangement, but still, it's kick-ass like German bluesy prog rock. I really like this band. I've been looking for their stuff. Some of their later '70s stuff is sort of hit or miss, but the first few Lucifer's Friend albums are great, and their albums are fucking hard to find. This one was $10, and I had to get it for that. This used to be, I hate doing this, but I'm gonna keep doing this because it's true. When I go to record shows, when I was selling back in the 2008s to 10s or 12s or around that era, 2010, 12. Through 2012, this shit used to be a fucking dollar. When I started going to record shows, this shit used to be $1. Now it's $10. Supposedly in 2000, was it 23 record sales? There were at 49 million. 49 million as opposed to like 2017, they're at 13 million. So of course, with the records going up, so do the prices. Like this one was $1 record too. The next three I'm going to show you were records I got in a trade. So I traded like probably 8 to 10 records, but most of them I didn't want or had doubles of anyway. So I got 3 records that I've actually been looking to try to get for my collection, or just I wanted to add. And this is definitely one I wanted to pick up for like the trifecta of albums I had been looking for by this artist. This is Larry Norman with Only Visiting This Planet. At Stonehenge, Larry. 1972 release. It says on here, folk psych rock. No. This is like, I say maybe some folk elements in it, but this is like just like pop rock and roll from the early 70s. Larry Norman is the king of what was considered Jesus music or contemporary Christian music. But don't let that kid you. His songwriting is great. Even though when he talks about Jesus and God and stuff, like he's such a good songwriter, he does it in a way that's totally fresh. There's the lyrics in there, and it's on the Verve label. I'm not gonna take it out. It's just on the black Verve label, which is usually for jazz. But this one used to be one I'd see in the dollar sections all the time at record shows. Now it's $10. He's sort of, like I said, the father of Jesus music. he's the one that really popularized it, and then he opened his own label called Solid Rock, I believe, Records, and had other Christian artists on that label. And it was Solid Rock was like a pretty stable Christian label, much like Mirror Records was back in the 70s. So I think I want to say Randy Stonehill might have been on Solid Rock for sure. Maybe Randy Matthews, the great Randy Matthews, was on there as well. But his music kind of, it's like, it's not going to sound good for me saying this, but it's very witty at times and very like, it's almost like he's like some sort of street poet, like a street punk poet, and he's writing about God and Jesus. So there's like a sense of like, I don't know, calmness and innateness to it that I really kind of like, with a little bit of a fucking attitude. And he's my favorite in this kind of realm. And this just goes to prove that you don't have to be Christian to like this kind of music, because I'm not Christian and I love this kind of music. Good music's good music. I mean, I can listen to the message on this about Jesus and all I want, but I really, in the end, I just like the music a lot, you know? And I suppose if I was ever inducted into Christianity or abducted, the music is what's going to get me in there. But I don't want to talk about religion. But yeah, this is really good. What the description of it would be like, Larry Norman sounds like fucking Bread, because he does sound like Bread a little bit on the slower songs, and then Rolling Stones sort of light the rock and roll songs. But because of the way he phrases in the lyrics, this is total, like I said, like street poet stuff. And it gives it kind of an avant-garde kind of angle, or an avant-gardeness to what would be considered probably for most people wimpy Christian rock. But I definitely love Larry Norman. And I was telling Doug about it, the owner of Jerk Dog Records, and I said, dude, fucking Frank Black from the Pixies is a huge fan of Larry Norman. I think Thurston Moore is a huge fan of Larry Norman. Jay Mascis from Dinosaur Jr. is a huge fan of Larry Norman. So like all these, credible hipster bands were influenced by Larry Norman. This one I needed for my collection, for my Zeppelin collection, and so I got this in trade too. The 2014 remastered Houses of the Holy by Led Zeppelin. I'm fucking happy to get this, because I was looking at buying this at Books A Million, brand new, for like $30. I got a used copy, which is 180 gram. There's the insert right there, and there's this thick ass fucking Atlantic, thick. Even though it doesn't look thick, this is heavy. A nice Atlantic pressing it is. Led Zeppelin's documentary's coming up next month, so I'm getting hyped for that, and I'm definitely going to go see that in the theater. I love Led Zeppelin, one of my favorite groups. And I don't listen to them a lot, but I'm trying to get all their stuff on vinyl, and now I'm only too short of doing so, of their studio albums, I should say, not all their boots and all that shit. But I have to get Coda, and I have to get the very first Led Zeppelin album, and I have everything else. And this album I've been looking for a while. I'd say in the last year, probably 2 years, I've been looking for this album. But I didn't want to buy it brand new. I was hoping I could get a deal on it. All my Led Zeppelins that I picked them up for $1 or $2. And this one was free, so I'm going to wait on that Led Zeppelin one, and hopefully I can find it someplace. But if I end up spending some money on that, I will spend money on it. But that'll be the only one I'll spend money on. And then Coda, I'm sure I can get for cheap someplace. Different album than Led Zeppelin 4, which this album follows up. Very light and breezy. Songs are pretty engaging. Sounds like the band's just really at peace with what they're doing. This doesn't feel like a band that's being torn apart. It feels like a band that's resting together. And there's something about this album that's very tranquil. And parts of like Physical Graffiti have the same sort of feel to it. But this is pretty much just a beautiful album from beginning to end. I want to say title track is Great Houses of the Holy. Um, of course, it's got Dire Maker, Over the Hills and Far Away. Ocean is on here. Um, Great stuff on here. Let's see. Yeah, is the ocean on here? Now I'm gonna have to open it up and look. God damn it, I'm trying to not waste time here. No quarters on here. That sounds badass. Yeah, the ocean's on here. The Crunch is on here. That song's awesome. Rain Song is another great song on here. Why don't I know all the songs on here? Because I'm a fucking loser, that's why. Alright. On with the next tad bit of thingamajiggy here. This is the last one I got in trade, and I just watched the Bob Dylan movie, so this brings it full circle. This is Bob Dylan and the band, Before the Flood, 1974 release off of Asylum Records, Elektra Asylum Records, which I did not know Bob Dylan was on there at all. Or maybe he's on there because the band are on that label. I don't know, but that's so weird to me that he's on here. And this comes in picture of the band and stuff. The back. The albums are in good shape. There's nothing exciting about them. It's just on this. You can see the Elektra label. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing too exciting to report here as far as like, you know, like how it looks. It sounds great. This is considered by a lot of people to be one of the best live albums ever. And what I find kind of astounding by this is how he changes, like, basically the arrangements on so many of these songs. So he's not doing them in the same key or anything like that. Like, he does, like, a sped up version of Lay Lady Lay and, like, some of the songs. I haven't heard the whole album, but, like, even how he recovers, like, Rainy Day Woman is different. You know, but this was Bob Dylan's when he did that Royal Albert Hall concert in '66, I think, in England. He was called Judas Over There Too, and that was the band backing him up. And there's two sides to that. It's like a two-sided CD. I don't know what the album is. There's probably maybe a double album too. But the first side is folk, and then the second side is electric. And the electric side on that is absolutely stunning. And this album, it sounds like it's all electric. And there's a few songs on here too by the band, up on Cripple Creek, Stage Fright, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, those songs. So I'm really, really excited to hear this. Seeing that Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown, I fucking love that movie. Yeah, it's really cool. It's got like Edward Norton as Pete Seeger in it and shit. It's kind of interesting. Like some of the side players and folk are in it. Peter from Peter, Paul and Mary's in it. Odetta, but just mostly in the background kind of are in it. Of course, Joan Baez, who Bob Dylan had a love affair with, was in that movie too. But not enough about the movie. I want to get this done. Yep. So Bob Dylan, Before the Flood. Excellent, excellent. One of the best live albums I've heard. Alright, we're getting to the end here, guys. Getting to the end. I'm getting down to the nitty and gritty, and not the shitty and gritty. Next thing, all the rest of these are metal. Most of this is extreme metal or thrash. Or I got 170s or early 80s metal. But this is Bloodbath with Grand Morbid Funeral. So 2014 release off of Peaceville. Bloodbath, you know, are known for, you know, some stellar albums. I don't know if this would be considered one of them, but Nightmares Become Flesh is definitely one of their standout albums. And I think I want to say this is an amalgamation of different people. Honestly, I thought Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth, or a few members of Opeth are in this, and somebody from 1349 is in this too, I think. But it's in a Swedish death metal kind of thing. Definitely has that kind of vibe. I like it. Noisy. It's got some noise aspects to it. Yeah. Picture of the band right there. This one was $40 and he marked it down to 20. And once I saw it at 20, I was like, I'm gonna buy this just because. And I'm not like a huge fan of Bloodbath. I do like Nightmares Become Flesh. Um, this is worth having. It's a good value for $20. I can either trade it or keep it. Most extreme metal I keep for my collection, but this is definitely something I could see trading in. Which I don't like to do, but I will if I have to. Just because this isn't like something I really, really need for my collection. But I might listen to this enough and realize I love it. So, yeah. Bloodbath. That's pretty cool to get a fucking album by them. Their albums are going for like $40. So once this was priced down to 20, it was a no-brainer. I was gonna snag it. Yeah. Fuck. As soon as I can get this stupid thing in here. Okay. This is great. And this is the only, I think, going forward, the only non-extreme or non-thrash metal, but this is more hard rock. And in this case, this is an album by people that they love to hate, but it's had enough time now for this album to finally cultivate some love, and it's Music from the Elder by Kiss. So 1981 release off of Casablanca, produced by Bob Ezrin, of course, who produced Alice Cooper, and who else did he produce? My brain is going. Pink Floyd, amongst other groups. And he actually produced this album, which is a fucking fantastic album by Kiss. I really, really like this album. And as a matter of fact, this is one of my, top 5 favorite albums by them. My albums by them that are my favorite are like Destroyer, Love Gun, Rock and Roll All Over, this, and maybe Unmask. Might be my top 5. Or Creatures of the Night. I love that album too. Totally, like, this is a concept album, which most of you guys know. I really, really dig this album. I like the sort of unkissedness of it. It's a sort of art rock, progressive rock thing going on in this album. I actually really, really like the departure from their normal sound. I wish they were more adventurous like this. I guess they kind of were with Dynasty and they went disco, but most people would say that's bad adventurism. Not me. I love that song, but yeah, songs on here like The Oath and Just a Boy are great. And Mr. Blackwell is creepy as fuck. Love that song. But what's that song that Ace does? Dark Light is killer. That sounds like a Kiss song. It's my favorite song on here, Dark Light. But this is a really good album. And now there's a lot of people like Steve Wilson from Porcupine Tree and Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth that champion this album. So it's starting to get a retread. Kiss the Elder. I'm happy to have it. I walked in the store and fucking this kid's trading all these Kiss albums, and I see Music the Elder there, and I go, how much you want for that? And he's like, 25. I'm like, I'll take it. Because I've been trying to round out my Kiss collection a little bit. I have a lot to buy with it, but with them, I have a lot I want to get. But yeah, I'm a Kiss fan. I don't give a shit. I know a lot of people fucking shit on them, and they're gonna shit on this next band, and maybe for good reason, but I'm gonna show it anyways. This is Graveland with Thousand Swords, 2010 record from this Polish, they're not German, Polish black metal band doing kind of epic war metal or war metal kind of themed stuff on here. War black metal, I should say. They're a black metal band, if I didn't say that. They got in some trouble because I guess there's some sentiments towards being pro-Nazi. I guess they're kind of neo-Nazis. From what and who knows if this is the truth or not, I think they did an interview and they said something, and then somebody in the band said that they're not for the Nazi party because it's a lost cause. The party's dead. They're not trying to resuscitate it, but they are like pro-white or whatever. So I don't know what that's about. And I didn't know that about this band until after I bought this album. And I find it funny because the owner of the store usually does not sell anything that's hate-ridden. And like I said, I had no clue what it was until after the fact. And I think I want to just say this is on Black vinyl. But yeah, this was one of the black metal albums that was there. Um, I kind of like this. It's got kind of a classic sound. These guys started in the fucking 90s, like 94, 95. But this album came out in I think 2000. Oh, these guys started before that, like 94, because a lot of these songs were recorded back in 94. So this is going to be kind of early black metal, war themed black metal, which is going to be fucking excellent because that first wave of black metal or second wave, early second wave is my favorite shit. So, Graveland, Thousand Swords. And here's another one. This is a German band. And this one was 20, oh God, I'm going way over, 2021 release, but I think this is older recordings too. This is Moonblood with, oh God, rehearsal demos. So this is all rehearsal demos. And I think this too was recorded back in the 90s as well. And this band formed in the 90s. A very raw sounding black metal, a little noisy, epic themed black metal. Fucking awesome stuff. I haven't listened to enough of this. This is on the Iron Bonehead label. But I want to say, yeah, it's just on black vinyl. But I love that little Satan head right there. Look at that. But yeah, very, very cool to have. No problems with this at all. Very happy to have this. So if I'm happy, you're happy. You're happy, I'm happy. I'm happy, you're happy. I don't know, something like that. Moonblood. All right, we're getting closer to the end, guys. I'm running at about 1:07 here, 1 hour 7 minutes. But now this is going to be the length of these videos, and I had a lot of shit to show. But I'm getting down to the end. I only have 3 albums left to show you. Only 3 albums left to show you. I'm going to try to knock this out quickly. This is great. This is Exhumed with Gore Metal. A reissue of their first album going back to 1990. Oh, this is 25th anniversary. I think this is 1998 that this came out. Fucking awesome. Exhumed are kind of like, I want to say gore obsessed death metal. Kind of a landmark album that came out with a sense of humor. You see that blood. I probably even shouldn't show that, but it's like, this shit is like, they don't take this stuff too seriously. They're like kind of tongue in cheek. And this is on green vinyl. I saw this in his store and I was like, yeah, I need to have this in my collection like yesterday. Yeah, I think I want to say Matt Harvey, who played in other death metal groups, is in this. Yeah, I mean, this group does not take themselves seriously. And I think there's something about them that is very enchanting, but they're still brutal as fuck to listen to. And this almost, like, to me, is almost like touches on BDM, brutal death metal. But isn't all death metal brutal, I guess? It should be. So, yeah, gore obsessed. Very, very first fucking Exhumed record. So I'm happy to have this. And 2 albums left. Whew. I'm kicking ass to get these done. 2 by the same band. I don't need to go in depth with these. He was selling a bunch of their albums in the store, and I've been dreaming about getting these on fucking vinyl. Right now it's like the best time for me to buy vinyl because all the things I never thought I could get on vinyl, now I can somewhat afford to get on vinyl. And so I've been just picking up stuff I've always wanted to have on vinyl or wanted in the collection. And these 2 are definitely in the same vein. This one is So Far, So Good, So What, Megadeth. This one was 28 bucks. And yeah, a little pricier than I'd like to pay. I don't like to pay more than like 20, 25 for a record. But 1988 released their 3rd studio album, the one that kind of gets shit on. I don't like their cover of Anarchy in the UK just as much as the next person. But there's plenty of good fucking hooks on this, plenty of good songs. Hook and Mouth, Liar, Set the World Afire, 502. Into the Lungs of Hell is a killer track, maybe the best track on here. And my favorite song on here though is In My Darkest Hour, which I love. Kind of almost like a ballad for them. This was my fucking introduction to Megadeth. Now I had heard about Killing's My Business, and I had heard about fucking P Cells, of course, and listened to some of P Cells, but didn't have them. This is the first thing I owned by them and listened to by them, and I was in love with it. Back in 1988, I was buying a lot of, stealing a lot. I was stealing a lot of metal cassettes, and I'm not proud of that now, but I was back then, stealing or buying, and I had a pretty decent metal cassette collection back in the day, and that So Far So Good So What was one of the ones I had. And of course, this one is P Cells, Who's Buying by fucking Megadeth. 1986 release by this wonderful group. Um, I don't need to say much about this. You guys know this record. I know this record. It's a thrash metal classic and their best album. I mean, Rust in Peace is probably right up there. But to me, it's like this. There's no wrong on this album except for their version of fucking uh, I Ain't Superstitious. I don't love that version, but they always do one cover that I don't love. But you know, Peace Sells is great on here. That song's still great, still kicks ass. Skull Island or Devil's Island. Why was I saying this? Skull? Devil's Island is on here. Um, Bad Omen. Come on, man. Bad Omen's killer. Wake Up Dead. The first song on here is just brutal. Great thrash metal. I mean, I'm tickled to be able to get these Megadeth records for fucking free, man. Or not for free, but for lower price and for, I say free, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've been talking for an hour and 11 minutes, but for a decent price. And I'm tickled to get them for that. And so that's it for me, guys. Hopefully there was something there in there you like. This one was very much metal influenced. You never know where I'm going to go next. I think the next haul I'm going to have more like, and I'm probably not really going to do a real heavy haul for a while. I'm sure I'll do one in a few weeks, maybe 3-4 weeks. On that one, will be pretty much like maybe a hodgepodge. It'll be a big video like this. I could do like smaller updates, but I choose to do the longer ones because I like to build it up and show a lot of stuff, you know. But this is my longest video for a long time, so I'm gonna call it good. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back, like I said, 3-4 weeks, probably with a new video. Maybe sooner, maybe later. But I'm definitely probably not going down the metal rabbit hole. But you never know with me. I'm definitely thinking about getting some like ethereal dream pop stuff for the next video. But I don't know what I'm gonna get. I don't know from video to video what I'm gonna get. I really don't, and it's just drives me up the fucking wall because I don't have a plan. But that's what's great about buying music is not having a plan. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.